welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining me in this journey to wheel, also known as Urdhva Dhanurasana or Chakrasana. Lots of names, same thing. It's a pretty intense back bend. So this practice is going to be for everyone, whether you are looking to just safely kind of explore your back bends, or if you already have a wheel practice and you feel like kind of going through a flow, and I'll offer some more variations towards the end as well. So for today's practice, it'll be really useful if you did have a couple of blocks. Can be done without, but yeah, if you do have them, or thick books or anything like that, grab those. And also you may want to have a bolster. That could also come in really handy. And we will get started, but just before we do, I just want to say, as we move through these kind of journey to classes, I'm gonna do a few of these, just to remember that, you know, there's absolutely nothing wrong with kind of working towards goals and poses and physical shapes in our yoga practice, but just ultimately remembering that it's not the only goal, it's not the end goal. It can be fun and it can take us on this little, I want to say journey. It's a word that's thrown around a lot in yoga, but it really is. As we start to move into these shapes, especially ones that are seen as, you know, slightly more challenging, it really is about seeing if we can stick with this just pure inner kindness for ourselves and not pushing, and yeah, just accepting wherever we are at the moment, wherever we are today. So I'll shut up and let's get started. We're going to come to begin in child's pose. So when you're ready, coming down to your mat and I'll meet you there. Okay, so if it feels comfortable for you, we're going to begin in this wide leg variation of our child's pose, knees apart, and slowly walking the hands down towards the mat. Maybe the forehead comes to rest. You could pop a block or cushion underneath if not, or you could allow it to hover if that feels okay. And we're just going to start with a little bit of grounding, a little bit of breathing, and arriving into this space. So eyes are softly closed, and we start to direct our attention away from wherever it was as we came to the mat, from the busyness of life. And all we want to do is just listen, feel our breath. Taking those big, deep breaths through the nose. With every exhale that you take, see if you can allow the shoulders and chest to relax towards the mat. With every inhale, maybe lengthening through the spine, so sending the hips back towards the heels. Again, doesn't matter where they get to, that's just the direction. Invite softness into the face, the neck and jaw. And just allow yourself a few moments of nothingness as we begin. It's quite rare in our days that we have time to just be. So see if you can really allow yourself to ease there now, to relax. We'll be opening into the chest, the shoulders, the hips. Obviously working with mobilizing through the spine as well, but so often restrictions in terms of our back bend can be because of tight shoulders, tight hip flexors. So we're going to really focus on those areas today. And remembering that back bends are progressive, so it's a really slow process. What we don't want to do is rush anything. Every posture that we come to today, making sure we are able to breathe freely, make the breath your priority. Okay, next time you breathe in, slowly let's start to walk the hands in towards the knees. Coming into this kneeling position. Maybe gently opening the eyes if you haven't already. And then from there, inhale, reach the arms up tall. And then exhale, cactus the arms, lift the chest, pull the shoulders down and back. Inhale, reach. And exhale into a twist, left hand towards the right thigh, right fingertips behind. If they don't quite reach, you can just reach that right arm back. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to twist. One more. Inhale, come all the way through center, reach the arms up. Exhale, cactus the arms, push the chest up. Inhale, reach. And exhale, taking that twist to the other side. Inhale, lengthens. Exhale, twist. On your next inhale, reaching the arms up. And then exhale, let's take the hands down in front, start to walk the hands forward, coming into your tabletop position. So knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders, tops of the feet, rooting down into the mat. You might want to give them a little tap out there if it felt a bit uncomfortable to be on the tops of the feet. And then taking a few rounds of really slow, mindful cat-cow. So inhale, lift the chest, lift the sit bones, drop the belly. Exhale, reverse it. Think about this wave through the body as we start to link movement with the breath even more. Really tilting from that hip space, from the pelvis. Couple more breaths. Really intentional with these movements. Pull the shoulders back as you inhale. Last one. Okay, next time you inhale, let's meet in that neutral position. And then exhale, start to walk the hands forward. We're going to make our way into our puppy pose. So knees underneath the hips and then walking the hands forward. You might be up a little higher today. You might come onto forearms or maybe the forehead or chin even comes down towards the mat. You find the right amount of stretch for your body today. Quite a lot of backbends or wheel pose can be determined by our anatomy. So for some of us, we have naturally more open shoulders. And it's quite common though to have lots of tightness in the shoulders. And obviously it can be something that over time with our practice, we can definitely work towards opening up into these spaces, into the shoulders and hips. But basically what I'm saying is try not to be kind of disheartened if this is a posture that you find particularly challenging. Okay, 2 more deep breaths. As you inhale, imagine reaching fingertips forward, stretch the armpits. As you exhale, soften the chest, maybe finding a little bit more space. One more, breathe in. And let it go. Slowly, as we transition back, walking the hands all the way back in. Taking a shift of the hips from side to side, maybe a tuck of chin to chest, any little bits of intuitive movement that just feel good there. And then walk the knees back just a little bit, maybe hands slightly forward, take an inhale, shifting the shoulders past the wrists, and then as you exhale, lower all the way down to the mat. Inhale, reach the arms forward, come into your Sphinx pose, forearms down, roll the shoulders back, tops of the feet down on the mat, and we just breathe there. So lift in the chest, have a little squeeze there into the glutes. So throughout our back bends today, anytime we come into a position that is opening through the chest, we really want to have this sensation of squeeze in the glutes. So you can just have a little play around in this position, basically with squeezing the glutes and releasing. And notice if that alters the sensation in the lower back. Last breath. And then release the chest all the way down to the mat. Slide in the hands underneath the shoulders. Take a little shake through the hips. And then next time you breathe in, cobra, baby cobra. Start to lift the chest. Again, pull the shoulders down and back, tops of the feet reaching down into the mat. Squeeze into the glutes. And then option there would be to take it into our active cobra. See how it feels to hover the hands, using all the strength in the back muscles to keep us here. Deep breaths. Gaze slightly down so we're not craning into the neck. For this last breath, can we just get a little bit more height? And release all the way down to the mat. Take a shake through the hips. And then we'll send that right arm all the way out to the side. Your options are going to be into this T shape or cactus the arm. See which one feels better on your shoulder. One of them, I find the cactus quite a lot deeper. It's just what works for you. And then slowly start to roll onto that right side. So you might want to stack the feet. You might want to send the left foot behind. That's going to probably intensify that stretch. Maybe head comes down to the mat. Allow each breath to maybe release you a little bit more into that twist. Last one. And then as you inhale, come back through center and we'll take it straight to the other side. So either cactus in that left arm or pop it out into a T shape. And then right hand roughly underneath right shoulder as we roll onto the left side. Again, there's the option there to stack the feet. Send the right toes behind. Deep breaths. Again, using those exhales to see if we can release a little bit further. And then slowly bringing your way back to center. Hands underneath the shoulders. Tucking the toes under now. We're going to come onto the knees and then begin to send the sit bones up and back towards our downward facing dog. When we arrive there, finding all of those little movements. So the pedal through the feet, the shake of the head, maybe moving the hips from side to side and really twisting. Really gripping the mat with the fingertips and then maybe moving forwards and backwards. And then from here, we're going to move through 3 spinal waves. So you can do this by keeping the knees lifted, or you can lower the knees down. I'll do a quick demo. When you're ready, inhale, rolls the body forward, come high onto the toes, chin stays tucked. And then as you exhale, come forward, bend the knees, either drop them down to the mat, bend the arms, send it back, sit bones high, back to your downward facing dog. 2 more like that. So inhale, waves the body forward. Think about this wave with the spine. And then exhale, bending the knees, look forward, send the hips up and back. 1 more there. Inhale forward. Exhale back. And then taking a moment to pause in your downward facing dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, let it go. And then inhale. Let's begin to lift the right leg up. And exhale as you bend into the right knee, keeping shoulders squared for this first one. And then really, really starting to try and lift through that right knee. So you'll feel potentially a stretch through the front of the right hip there. Maybe flexing the right foot, taking 1 more in breath. And then exhale, look forward. Right foot is going to step somewhere towards the right thumb, however we can get it there. And then begin to lower the back knee down to the mat. Coming into your low lunge, let's just begin by bringing the hands to the hips. You can have the back toes tucked or untucked for this one. Take a little roll back of the shoulder, make sure the foot and knee is staggered. Take an inhale there, and then exhale, start to ease the hips forward. As we ease the hips forward, think about really squeezing, especially into that left glute. So everything's switched on, both glutes switched on, but you want to pay attention to this left glute that it doesn't kind of go to sleep. Roll the shoulders back. With each exhale, maybe ease in slightly more into that hip space. Last breath. And then inhale, bring it all the way back. Exhale, start to straighten the leg, maybe shifting the right heel forward and come into a little fold. You might want to grab a block to rest the hands on, flex the right toes, inhale, lengthens the spine. Exhale, soften over that right leg, relax head and neck. 2 more. And then next time you inhale, bringing the right sole of the foot back down to the mat, come back into that low lunge. This time inhale, reach the arms all the way up. And then exhale, see how it feels to interlace the hands behind the back. Inhale to lift the chest up, same as with that cactus move. Squeeze into the left glute, and then maybe start to slide the knuckles down that left leg. Doesn't have to be a big movement at all. If you've got any issues with that left knee, maybe pop some padding underneath it. Lift the chest as we ease the hips forward. Think about lifting rather than bending, making sure that you can breathe. One last breath. And then inhale, bring it back to neutral, reach the arms up. Exhale, bringing both hands towards the inside of the right foot. Start to wiggle the right foot towards the outer edge of the mat. Tuck the back toes under and lift the back knee. Gazing forward, you're going to push through that back heel and again squeeze into the glutes. Lift the chest, shine the chest forward. Gaze is forward. And just feel, if you can, the sensation, the stretch through that left hip flexor, all the way down the front of that left hip. One last breath. And then lower that left knee down to the mat, maybe untucking the toes there. Inhale, start to sweep the right arm forward. You could always bring left hand to a block. And then exhale, turn the palm, take it all the way behind. From there, you can either keep that right arm reaching back. You could place the right hand towards the inner thigh. That might be quite nice for a few breaths anyway, just easing into the hip space. Or if it's there, you could have a go at bending in the back leg and pause in there. Or final variation, you could reach and grab the outside of the left foot with the right hand and gently pull the left heel, is that left? Yeah, left heel towards you. Either way, whichever one we're in, open and rotate through the chest and breathe. 2 more there. Whichever we've gone for, if you've got hold of the back foot, release with control, try not to kind of let it ping down. And then everybody inhale, reach the right arm up. Exhale to plant the hand, either knees or toes as we step the right foot back to plank. Space for a vinyasa there, so if you would like to, knees or toes, we lower down. Inhale, roll the shoulders back, come into your back bend, cobra or up dog. And then exhale to wave the body back into your downward facing dog. And again, if it feels good to, feel free to move to kind of explore. Couple of breaths. Okay, in your own time, we're going to move through those 3 spinal waves once more. So on your next in-breath, wave the body forward. Exhale, either lowering the knees, send it back into your downward facing dog. 2 more. So chin stays tucked, roll through the spine. Knees up or down as we send it back. Maybe through that little child's into your downward facing dog. Last one, inhale forward. Exhale, look forward, wave it back.
stay for a big breath in. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, popping a bend into that left knee as we really try and open into the left hip space whilst keeping the shoulders squared. Try and push that left knee up towards the ceiling, rooting down through fingertips so we've got a little bit of height in the upper body too. One more breath in. And then breathe out to look forward, start to square through the hips. Left foot is going to step as best as it can towards the left thumb. If it doesn't get there, give it a hand. And then we lower the back knee. Inhale, this variation of our low lunge. So hands to hips. Take a big roll back of the shoulders. A little tilt for the pelvis to begin. And again, if you want to pad under that right knee, go for that now. And taking one more breath to lengthen up. Squeeze into the glutes as you breathe out. Maybe seeing how it feels to shift forward into that hip space. Another option as well, which I should have said the first round, would be to bring a hand to a block, because it can feel like quite a lot in that hip, but you could also just back off from it slightly. You don't have to go into your deepest point. Using the breath to ease. The aim here is that we start to open all the way through the front of the hips. So when we do have a little go, maybe at our wheel pose, the front body, we're not just focusing on the spine, we're focusing on opening the chest, the shoulders. Squeeze the glutes, remembering they can quite easily go to sleep, and then slowly start to bring it all the way back to this neutral position. And then exhale, flexing the left toes, release the hands down to blocks or the mat. Inhale, lengthen, and exhale for your little fold. Try and relax into the upper body and try and keep that left quad switched on by flexing the toes, bringing that foot towards you. Last breath. And then inhale, start to bring your body forward, reach the arms up this time. And then exhale, take the hands behind. If it feels okay to interlace the fingers, you could switch the grip of the interlace if you can remember which you did. Start to gently push the knuckles down towards the right leg. Roll the shoulder blades down and back, inhale. And then exhale, option would be to lean a little bit more into that hip space and send the knuckles further down the leg. Squeeze the inner thighs. That should also help to activate into the glutes. And again, rather than thinking about how far back we can go, think about lifting the chest up. 2 more. Last breath. Inhale. Back to center, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands down to the mat, to the inside of left foot. Give it a little wiggle out to the side. Tuck in the back toes, active lizard as we lift the knee and we squeeze. There's a lot of squeezing in this one. Squeeze into the glutes, squeeze the inner thighs and push the right heel back. Reach the chest forward. Deep breaths. Last one. And then we lower that back knee down to the mat and tuck the toes. Inhale, reach the left arm up. Exhale, either left hand down towards the inner thigh, maybe hold in there for a couple of breaths. Maybe we stay there. Or the option is to bend in the back knee, and you're going to get that, well, you'll probably feel that in the hip flexor, whether or not we do go for the grab. And then that final variation is the grab of the outside of the foot. Breathing deeply, pulling that heel towards you if it feels good to. You can experiment a little bit there as well, pulling it towards you. You may feel it more in the hip. Pull it away, you may get it more into the chest and spine, shoulder. Last breath. If you did grab the foot, again, release with control. Everybody, let's meet, releasing left hand down to the mat. And then step it back to your plank. Option 2, vinyasa, through the knees or through chaturanga. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, Downward facing dog. Take a few breaths there. Option, of course, come back to your child's pose. See what the body needs. Notice how you're feeling at this point as well. So back bends, heart openers are connected to these kind of emotions of being open and obviously like lots of compassion and love as well around the heart space. But for some of us as well, they can be quite triggering, and that can be from an emotional point of view. It can definitely be that, but it could also be just because they're quite hard physically on the body. So yeah, just have a few moments now to just check in with what's going on in the body, what's going on with the emotions, with the mind. Become more aware. We're here to safely kind of explore and increase this body awareness. So keep checking in and keep making sure that there is no judgment there, there's no expectations. Okay, take one last breath. In your own time, if you're ready to, let's come to meet back in our downward facing dog. Just a little bit more flow, and then we'll have a go at maybe our wheel pose. So coming back to our downward facing dog. Take a big breath in. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, bend into right knee, open into the hip space. And then this time, you've got the option to come onto the right fingertip. So if you've done my classes, we've done this before. And maybe looking underneath the right armpit. You'll still want to be squeezing back through right knee. So lift as high as we can. One more breath. And then look forward, plant the right hand down if we lifted. And then we step the right foot towards the right thumb. This time, high lunge. So feet are staggered. Inhale, reach the arms up, lengthen through the fingertips. Exhale, take the gaze up as you cactus the arm. So a shape that we did right at the beginning. This time we hold. Pull the shoulder blades down and back and think about, again, lifting the chest up. At the same time, we want to maintain a bend through right knee, and you want to push back through the left heel, squeeze the left glute, activate there. Pull in the inner thighs together as well. Sometimes helps to switch on the glutes. One more breath. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, look forward, easy twist. Left hand is going to come all the way down towards the mat. Inhale, open towards the right side, reach the right arm up. One breath there. Let it go. Inhale. Exhale, lower the left knee down to the mat. Maybe keeping the toes tucked for this one, but it is your choice. And then inhale, we're going to come into a low lunge twist. So start to lift the left arm, start to rotate the chest. You've got a few options from here. You might want a block. You can stay here. You could reach that right hand down towards the lower back, or maybe right hand to a block or towards the left heel. And then from there, start to see if you can lift the chest, lift the left arm, and then ease forward into the hip space. Relax the head and neck. This is just an option. If we're pushing into the lower back there, same thing applies. Lift the chest, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hips forward. Take a big breath in, big breath out. Slow the breath. If it feels too strained, back off from the back bend. Last one. Inhale, really, really slowly. Start to lift, come back into the twist. Exhale, left hand lowers back down to the mat. Take a moment in this twist. So rotate the chest to the right. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. One more inhale. And then exhale, right hand down to the mat. Frame the foot. Lift the back knee. Send it back. Option to vinyasa. Really slow with the breath. Lower with control. Inhale. Take your time. And exhale back to your downward facing dog. Take a moment. And again, you might want to shift the hips from side to side, shake the head. And then we move to the left. Clearing breath when you're ready. Inhale through the nose. Open the mouth, sigh it out. Inhale, left leg lifts. Exhale, bending into left knee, open into the hip space with the option to come on to left fingertips. Maybe looking underneath the left shoulder. Try and push that left knee up, open into the hip. One more breath. If we lifted the hand lower, everybody take an inhale, square hips. Exhale, left foot steps towards the left thumb. The feet are staggered here. We're going to need as much help as we can with the balance. Slowly start to rise. High lunge, reach the arms up. Roll the shoulders back, lengthen through fingertips. Take a moment there to squeeze the inner thighs. Breathe in. Exhale to cactus, lift the chest. So much going on in the body throughout these flows, especially when we have the focus on trying to safely explore opening an area. So again, push that back heel, the right heel back, squeeze the inner thighs, and then lift the chest, gaze up. If we wobble, just come back in. One more breath. Inhale, reach. Exhale, look down. Right hand lowers towards the mat, easy twist. So twists. Lots of twists in this back bend. Flow, twists and back bends. Twists are really good for both preparing for back bends, but they also can feel quite nice rather than going straight into a fold as a counter. Okay, slowly begin to lower the back knee, maybe keeping the toes tucked. And then come on to right fingertips. Come through your twist, pause for a breath. This side's a lot wobblier. And then you've got the option to stay there. You've got the option to slowly start to bring left hand to lower back, slide the hips forward, or that final variation, left hand to right heel or to a block, and then start to lift the chest. Maybe the gaze goes up. That's gonna definitely affect the balance. Breathe, squeeze. Again, checking that the glutes are switched on, the chest is lifting. Send the hips forward. Last breath. And again, slowly we come out of this one. Really, really slow. We come back through this twist. Right hand down to the mat and let's pause. Ooh, in that twist. Last breath. And then looking down towards the mat, left hand comes to the outside of the left foot. We step it back. Option for your vinyasa. We'll come to meet back in that downward facing dog. And again, if you would like to take a moment to pause, either coming into a closed knees child's pose this time, resting the head towards the mat, or if you prefer, just come to seated. Close the eyes. Take a moment to check in. Awareness to how the body feels. Noticing where there may be resistance. Notice where there is also ease. Give yourself permission for these few moments to fully relax. Okay, when you're ready, we're going to start to make our way down, ready for potentially a few goes at wheel. So this is where you may want your blocks. We're going to go for maybe 3 rounds of back bends here. Just a quick tip before we go into these. So if you have your blocks, so for many of us, it can not only be the shoulders that are tight, it can also be the wrists, but if it's either of those things, sometimes it can be really helpful to pop blocks up against the wall and then place your hand on the block, if this makes sense. I'm hoping you can see this enough. Maybe I'll do another close-up video of this at some point. But essentially, if you're in class and you ever hold onto someone's heels, or you've seen people doing that, that's why, because the range of motion that it requires in the wrists to come into this shape is a lot. So an option would be to place the hands on the blocks, as long as it feels quite sturdy, and you can do it either way, just depending on how your room's set up. So if you did want to have a go at that when we come to wheel pose, that's an option. But we don't have to do wheel pose as well today. I'm going to cue us through a few different back bends. So when you're ready, come down to the mat, roll it back nice and slowly. Soles of the feet come down, and unless you are really comfortable with your wheel pose and you feel like you want to go straight there, we'll all take a round of bridge. So bring in the soles of the feet down to the mat, hands by the side, and then slowly, again, as we breathe in, squeeze through the glutes to lift the hips. Think about this sensation of pulling the inner thighs towards each other, and just see if that can give us a little bit extra height. As best we can, we keep the thighs parallel. And then imagine pulling the chest towards you and the fingers away from you. And this is the same sensation if we do come to wheel pose that we want to feel in the body, that lift. One more breath. And then lower all the way down to the mat. Just take a moment, drop the knees from side to side. Round 2. You can either have a go at that bridge pose again. You could also come into supported bridge with a cushion or block underneath the lower back. That might be a nice place to be for a while. Or I will go for a variation of wheel. So we'll go for our first wheel and then I'll go for another variation if you would like to. Making sure that you feel ready to do so. Planting the hands just behind the head. Push down through the feet, push down through the hands. This is personal preference. If it feels okay to you, you can take a moment on the top of the head if it doesn't feel like too much weight in the neck, but just be really careful. So maybe coming onto the head and then pushing through the chest. Once we get there, breathe first and foremost. If you have come into your wheel, again, you know what I'm going to say, we're going to squeeze through the glutes, lift the chest, try and push the chest in that space between the arms. Try and relax the head and neck. If it feels good to you, you could have a go at coming onto the toes. Especially if we start our wheel practice, that can sometimes help create a bit of space, because again, it's a lot having the soles of the feet down, the legs parallel. The knees are going to naturally want to come out to the edges, so squeeze the inner thighs together. And by squeezing the inner thighs together, again, we get the activation through the glute, and it should hopefully take a little bit out of the lower back and maybe create a bit more space. Coming out of our wheel pose, making sure we come down before we feel like we absolutely have to and collapse. So really slowly, if you're in bridge, coming down as well. Coming down. And again, just take a moment, drop the knees from side to side. We've got one more round to go. If you're thinking absolutely not, just have a nice slide down, or again, you've got that supported bridge option. If you'd like to either bridge or one final wheel, maybe giving the wrists a good shake out as well. They can sometimes feel a little bit icky. Bringing the hands down, maybe onto the head. And just for fun, if anyone is already practicing wheel and wants a few other options, you could maybe keep one foot down on the mat and then lift the other leg. Still trying to maintain that push through the chest. Have a go with both legs. And another variation, only if you know that your shoulders and chest are okay to do this and feel really open, would be a forearm wheel where you walk one arm down and the other. You could bring palms together, or you could keep arms parallel, still pushing through the chest, still squeezing the glutes. Very deep breaths if we can. And then either pushing yourself back up to wheel, or if you know that you're open enough to roll down, go for that. And then we'll all come to meet down on the mat. If you're in your bridge again, coming down slowly. And again, just drop the knees from side to side. Maybe give the wrists a shake out. You're more than welcome to pause the video now if you want a little bit longer to explore wheel. You could try kind of reaching the legs forward. You could try one arm. But if you have had enough, we're going to start to come into our supine twist and then down towards shavasana. So shift onto the left hip, knees either together, or I like to cross the right leg over, whichever feels good. Shift that left shoulder blade out from underneath you. You could reach the arm out wide, you could cactus the arms, maybe dropping the head to the right. And relax into the face, relax the body, and start to allow the breath, or start to notice the breath coming back to its natural rhythm. Back bends as well for our breathing. Just because we're in this such open shape in the chest and sometimes the throat, we might need to take a moment to just really come back to that breath, to slow it down. When you're ready, inhale, roll through center. Exhale, take it all the way across, knees together or crossing the leg. Just noticing how you're feeling now. And taking a moment of appreciation for making it to this point, for sticking with it. Just a reminder, again, I know I said it at the start, but it does not matter where we get to in this physical practice. All of our bodies are so different. Our anatomy is so different. So it would be impossible for us all to just go into the same shapes and look the same. And I know that might seem quite obvious, but so often when we see these shapes, for me particularly, my shoulders are naturally really open. So of course I found back bends comfortable, so I trained them more at the start of my practice when I was way more into kind of the physical shapes. Okay, inhale, bring it back to center. Draw the knees into the chest, take a little rock from side to side. Maybe drawing the head up towards the knees. And then we're going to come into our shavasana. Now, if you have a cushion or bolster, it may be really nice to pop that underneath the knees and really relax into the lower back. Of course, if there's any final stretches that you want to take now, go for it. And then ease your way down. It's quite normal to feel some heat in that area in the back. Once you've got into your comfortable position, eyes softly closed. Allow the body to fully relax. And again, just saying a big thank you to yourself, to your body, for getting you here today. Being proud of wherever you got to. As I said, having physical goals can be really encouraging. Working towards postures can be a really positive and exciting part of the journey. Just make sure you give as much attention, as much effort to your rest now. If you're someone that gets tempted to skip your shavasana, your relaxation, just notice that without, any judgment again, any frustration. Just be completely comfortable with where and who you are today. Again, with our heart openers, we come back to this theme of compassion for ourselves, for those around us. So ending the practice today with full appreciation and compassion for yourself. If you have longer, please do stay in your shavasana. If you would like to begin to move on with your day, start to invite that gentle movement into the body. Maybe reaching the arms above the head, full body stretch, maybe a little wiggle from side to side. And then when you're ready, either rolling onto your side or bringing knees into chest. Keep the eyes closed if you can. Begin to ease your way up to a comfortable seated position. Once you arrive there, bring in one hand to the heart space. Bring the other hand on top. Take a little bow of the head. Take a big breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, release it all out. Let's go for one more. Breathe in. Let go. Bringing the palms together at heart center. And again, ending our practice as we always do, but so important to end with this little bit of gratitude, of thanks for not only ourselves, our bodies, but this incredible practice that just gives us a little bit of space in body and mind. When you're ready, opening the eyes. Thank you so much for joining me for this practice today. Please do let me know how you found it, or take a moment. As always, do subscribe. It just helps me to kind of continue making these free videos. But yes, try and take a few moments now to kind of rest, to allow yourself to come back in slowly. With these asana focused practices, it's kind of hard to squeeze it all into what could be a couple of hours masterclass. So I might do a few more of these, but you could always take moments to pause the video, come back to it, do chunks at a time. But what I would just say, if you do come back to have a go at Urdhva or wheel pose, like throughout your practice, just make sure you're really, really nice and warm, and you do something else before you come back to the wheel pose section. But yes, thank you again so much, and I will hopefully practice with you here again very, very soon. Bye.